Hi there. I'm Out of Context Elliot, and this is the Dr. Pepper Guy podcast. Welcome back, everyone. I am feeling much better. I was not able to sit down and record one of these last week because I was quite sick. I was literally gagging phlegm out of the back of my throat, and I had a sore throat that I was just struggling to get over. However, I'm finally better today, and I was given the day off from school, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna record this podcast, and I have a movie theater cut because I'm just out of seeing Avatar 2. It was I'll start off by talking about Avatar 2. It was fine. In terms of story, it didn't do anything groundbreaking. It was kind of lazy. I don't need to put a spoiler warning on this because if you've seen the original, you've basically seen this one. Everything that everybody had to say about the first one is in this one. It's like, okay, he's got a family now. I found I couldn't get invested in the characters and everything else. They literally recycled the villain. The same villain copy and pasted. That's not really a spoiler because he's in the trailers. Um they literally the same villain. They insisted that it wasn't the same guy, but it was just this guy with the same guy in a different body with the same voice actor and different same memories and same personality, but I thought it was lazy. That's fresh on my mind right now. This is Mellow Yellow, by the way. They didn't have Dr. Pepper in my theater. They only had Coke products. I'm drinking Mellow Yellow on the Dr. Pepper Guy podcast. This is what I've come to. This is my life. Yeah, I've been it's been an interesting couple weeks since I've got to sit down and record one of these. I went on a trip to Atlanta, Georgia. That was a fun weekend. We had a murder trial for one of the kids who was with us. We went like a massive group. And we stayed in this cabin in the middle of nowhere with no Wi-Fi. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to get that episode out with Kaez. I recorded that episode over a week in advance because I didn't trust myself. However, it did air no problem, so that makes me very happy. That it didn't. Nothing resulted from anything bad there. The stand-up mashup episode, people liked it. It aired on my number one fan's birthday, so they were happy about that. They told me about that. Fun weekend at Georgia. Very fun weekend. We I visited the International Coca-Cola Museum. I invaded Coca-Cola. I got to invade their. I got to stand next to the vault where they keep their super secret recipe, and there was a security guard in there because that's how serious it is, and it's all devious marketing. I tell you, Dr. Pepper doesn't do that. They're not evil like that. They give you a product and they don't ask you to enjoy it. You sit there and you enjoy it. They don't hide it behind, this is our mysterious secret formula. Everyone says, oh, Dr. Pepper is just Coca-Cola with that's slightly been altered. Not true. Dr. Pepper was established in 1885. It literally is written on my shirt. And Coca-Cola was established in 1886. Gotcha. Why would they lie on their can? It would be a massive scandal. They would have to change the year. They would be like established 1880 whatever. If it wasn't why would they put that on a shirt? Why would they make that part of their logo? If that was the case, Who knows? Who knows? I don't understand it either. Coca-Cola just partners with other stuff. Dr. Pepper has a museum in Texas that I would like to go to. Yeah. I could talk to death about how evil Coca-Cola is. Oh my God, they after sitting that they have literally a room that just plays ads for them. You could just play ads It was diabolical. You just sat there and watched old ads with whatever celebrities. There were like photo shoots with the bear, with like a guy in a bear costume. The bear costume was like 7 feet tall. They had like a robotic head put on this dude, and the eyes looked like they were bloodshot. They were very murdery eyes. Hey, Dr. Pepper, want to sponsor me? Please, I'll throw away this mellow yellow. All right. I will say, if Dr. Pepper ever sponsored me, they will. I will never see a drop of Coca-Cola touch this map again. I'll tell you what. Oh man, Dr. Pepper, you need to make like a cologne for this stuff. That smell is so good. I don't. That smell is so good. Come on, guys. I would invest. I would so invest in a cologne. Oh, man. Yeah, it was a very interesting museum. There was like a whole bunch of media, like all their old like ads from back in the day, like old signs, old memorabilia from back in the day that it was like, yeah, there was a crate that said like drink Coke 5 cents or whatever. On the name tags of people, it was like everybody, they said their favorite Coca-Cola product. You could drink like Coca-Cola products from all over the world, and you know what? That is a dangerous thing, because you know why? You could basically drink everything. You had a cup and you could basically stay there forever until they closed. And you know what? That's how you get a carbon overload. All right? Because that's what I did. So I do not recommend. There was a bunch of terrible products in there that from all across the world. All right? If someone offers you Beverly, do not drink it. It is dog piss. I would rather drink dog pee. I would actually rather drink dog pee. It is worse than LaCroix. It is like you drink it and you can't swallow it. You have to spit it out. One of the people I was there with literally spat it out on the ground. And it was bad. It was really bad for them. And that person I was with was me. Nobody saw it, but it was me. Nobody saw it happen. They were all busy drinking like Fanta from China, which tasted like, or grape Fanta from China tastes like barbecue sauce, and carbonated barbecue sauce is disgusting. All right, do not put all right, Coca-Cola, streamline your shit. All right. I see you. I see you, Coca-Cola. Don't test me, Coca-Cola. All right? I'm on to you. I'm on you. The Dr. Pepper guy will not stand down to your madness. Okay? Okay? Don't mess with me. All right? So that's something I did in Georgia. It was fun. I was there competing in a race. I did not have the best competition wise. I was very much off my game. I did not place well at all. I was trying to boost my it was from my orienteering team. I tried to boost my national ranking. It didn't work out so well for me. I ended up stupidly skipping part of the course, and I got DQ'd as a result on the last day. We call it a mispunch when you skip a checkpoint or grab the wrong checkpoint or do them in the wrong order or what have you. Or, I did that. And I was not happy with the way that turned out. I definitely felt like I let my team down. I showed up on a national event and was an idiot and I couldn't even finish properly. I was definitely upset. I went and had a meltdown behind a garbage can. Believe it or not, I'd sat there and just sort of screamed into my fist like that for until I was out of breath, and that was before I was sick. Then I got sick last week, and then I just sort of walk through the week. I missed school one day. It was a finals day, which was annoying, but alas, I still took care of it. Alas, indeed. And now I'm on my last semester of high school. My last one. I still have a little bit. Sorry. I'm still getting bits of phlegm here and there. I need to work on that. I'm still tasting it here and there. So, yeah. And I'm also going to start running track, so it's going to be a bit more difficult to record these. I'm going to have a bit less time. However, my schedule is getting even easier than it already was, so I'm not going to have to worry about that. I have classes. I have less homework-related classes. I have a PE class next semester, so that's one class off where I could potentially have homework. Yeah, so I'll have more time to try to get sponsored by Dr. Pepper. I'll have time to do that. Yeah, I follow Dr. I swear, people send me Dr. Pepper related things every day. They're all last week and all this week and for years. I've just been getting like that same damn woman, that same 104-year-old woman who claimed to have been living off of Dr. Pepper and it was keeping her alive. Well, that was in 2015. So she would be 111 now. And that's even crazier. Think about like, by the way, she's still alive. Like, no. They haven't done a little news spot like that because you know why? She's probably dead. Anyway, Dr. Pepper is keeping me alive. I know that because I'm keeping my sanity alive. So, you know, and it's kind of my brand now. People associate me with the product. They keep sending it to me. Everybody thinks of me. They think of voila. A lot of marketing genius behind that. Just saying. The Dr. Pepper guy. If only I wasn't known by Out of Context Elliot, or else I would be the Dr. Pepper guy. I named it DP guy because I'm not sponsored by them yet. However, if I ever get sponsored by Dr. Pepper, I will become the Dr. Pepper guy. All right. I would just saying. You ever need Fansville actors? Need me to show up in your merchandise? Just saying. I would do it in a heartbeat. All right. Also, how good do I look in this shirt? I look absolutely fantastic. And also, this shirt looks absolutely fantastic. Oh my god. It's comfortable, too. Honestly. Only thing I need is a matching pants and a matching jacket and a matching hat and a matching mask and a matching underwear. It'll be perfect. And then it'll all be perfect. Everything will be... I'll be perfect. I just have, like, you know, this and sweatpants on right now. But, you know. There's that. So, now I'm going to read a couple news segments. The Oscars got announced. The Oscars got announced. That happened. People are mad Ana de Armas was nominated for Blonde. Apparently there's going to be a mutating event in a couple years. Don't know why they're telling about us now when we're not going to care and forget. Football's been going. I've actually been paying attention to football lately. Believe it or not. Football has been something I've been paying attention to. I've also been playing a shitload of Stardew Valley. and I'm getting my friends into it. Spencer, my fellow recollection writer, I've got a playthrough with him, and I'm trying to get Ark on it. I told Ark if he downloaded Steam, I would gift him the game on Steam, and I would get him in there immediately. But he's reluctant. He's reluctant. He'll be joining soon enough. I'm recording this today because I'm going to be running tomorrow, and I'm going to be tired as hell. After my run yesterday, I sort of just took a shower, then I laid down in bed and passed the fuck out. I was tired, bro. I was tired, and then I fell asleep pretty easily. I went to bed at and then I ran this morning. Got a run in there. Then I have a run in tomorrow. I'm probably gonna run 7 miles. How much? I've run in 12 miles this week, and then I didn't run Monday because my orienteering team was on the news, and they needed footage there, so I was on there for like a couple seconds. You could see me carrying my sister. You could see one thing they did that I think is absolutely hilarious. They like credited someone with the wrong name, and it's not like they got like two of the young boys mixed up. They got one of the teenage girls and one of the little boys mixed up. And I think that's hilarious to me because it's not like it's a girl's name that could be a boy's name. It is a girl's name on a kid with a boy's name. So, and I just think that's hilarious because it's not like they missed it by like, oop, I can see how they got confused. They were way off. And it was on the news, and I just lost it. My family all sat down and watched the premiere because they interviewed my sister, so we were there for that. I got to be in like a 2-second action shot and the bit at the end with everybody. You can see my shorts. I'm like, I was like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like, there I am. From Once Upon a Time in Hell. I actually, that movie reminds me of my flight home from Georgia, and my flight there. You guys want to talk? You guys want something for me to complain about? I have something to complain about. This just came to my mind a couple seconds ago. My flights to and from Georgia. They were terrible. They were actually terrible. The way out in the terminal, there were 4 screaming children in the terminal. It was just terrible. I was there. We were like, oh my god, and they were like, their parents. There were less parents. It was all one family, so obviously those parents are completely overwhelmed. There was like an older sister or a cousin person with them, but that was it. They were completely overwhelmed. They could not keep track of like all 5 of those kids, and they could not handle their children at all. And then eventually, and this was a red eye. We were in the airport at 10 p.m. Our flight was about to board. Our flight boarded at like 10:15, and the flight took off at 11. So it was late. It's not like we were in the middle of the day. You know, we can be tolerant. We have energy. No, we are tired. All right, we had the whole day behind us. We wanted to sleep, and we couldn't sleep in the airport because there were screaming children. So we couldn't do that. Then we got on the plane. We all struggled to sleep. I slept good for the first hour, and then I was sort of just in and out of reality. And then I was just in and out of reality for the rest of the day. I fell asleep a bunch of times throughout the day. And then the first time I fell asleep in the car, and like it was like a 1-hour drive. And then me and my buddy, who we rented this Airbnb that one of the other families, we were carpooling with them because we had the same flight going to Georgia, and we were like, yo, they couldn't let us into our house because of I don't know, they hadn't cleaned it yet. This was like at 12 in the afternoon. Our flight landed at like 6 Georgia time, so which was really like 3 a.m. for us because we're 3 hours behind them typically. So we were tired. We got breakfast at this good local breakfast place. Really good breakfast, actually. Oh, and the kids on the plane, their parents drugged them to make them fall asleep. They melatonin in the airport. The cousin sister person was like, "When are we gonna give them melatonin?" And they're like, "Not yet. When we get on the plane." And we were like, "Okay." And then they were fine. The kids were asleep. Getting off the plane, they were allowed again, but they were fine. On the plane, and then we landed and we got breakfast and we went to our hotel. We were like we didn't really have anything for us to do. It wasn't really like a hotel. It was like an Airbnb cabin in the woods we were renting. And there was really nothing for us to do. It was we were just sort of waiting there. And the rest of our party was all on a different flight. They were all flying up the we flew up the Wednesday night, and then they were all flying up like the Thursday afternoon and Thursday morning throughout the day. And so we were like there like at 12:15. We had assumed they couldn't let us until 1, but then they had like cameras about, and then the manager showed up and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" And we're well, oh yeah, we're with the group that's renting the place for the weekend. Is there any way you can let us in early? We really have nowhere to go. We have a bunch of food because we had went grocery shopping to buy food for at least us for the day. At least our two families. It was my sister, my dad, me, my friend, and my friend's mom. So all five of us. So we bought food for us just to last the day. So we'd have like dinner and lunch. And he was like, "All right, I might have to charge you though." And then we're like, "Oh, come on." And then my friend, we had like just gotten out of the car, and we were just parked right in front of the place. And my friend thought of the genius idea. You know what? He was like, "You know what? I'm gonna lie on the ground because it's better than sitting in the car." And I'm like, "Is it comfortable?" He's like, "It's more comfortable than trying to sit in the car." And I'm like, "Fuck it." So I laid down next to him, and we sort of just laid there for like a few minutes. The guy left and came back, and he was like, "Yeah, he came back with a key and was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna let you guys in now. I feel bad. I'd feel bad for you guys if I charged you, so you guys can just get in for free." I saw like your boys were lying down on the ground. My friend is a genius for that. If it wasn't for my friend, we would have just sat there and looked like assholes, and we would have been charged. But my friend, he took pity on us, so we got in fine. Let's go. And then we were in, and then we all sort of sat down. We couldn't figure out how the volume worked on the TV, so we sort of just watched TV. Struggled to figure out how to get the subtitles because it was old TV. And then we were just bored. I fell asleep. I woke up. My friend's mom was like, "There's a tornado. We need to get away from the windows." And I'm like, "What? I'm just asleep on the couch. Like, what happened? Where am I?" And like an hour and a half had gone, and like a couple hours had gone by. I'm like, "Jesus Christ." So we were in a tornado, and then we were just in, and then the power had gone out while I was asleep. So I'm like, great. And then we sort of just hung out there for a bit, and then it got dark. And I was like, well, that's fantastic. Then we hung out at this other place that had power for a couple hours once the tornado had mostly passed through. We hung out there and then came back. Had like our phone flashlights for a little bit, and then I went upstairs to go take a shower. And as I was about to get in the shower with the lights off, I had like my phone light projecting, and the lights came on. So we just sort of hung out there. And now, because of the tornado, the rest of our party, all their flights got delayed, and some of them had layovers, I think. So they were all miserable. They all took ages to get there. The first party we got there like at noon. The rest of the party showed up like at midnight, or at like the first group showed up at like 9 p.m. Like it was crazy. Like everyone had issues. There was one group in our party that they had their rental car service just sucked. Their plane like arrived like at 9 p.m. Then they got through the airport. They got to the rental car at like 10 or whatever, and they couldn't get a rental car till 2 in the fucking morning. They they were waiting 4 hours for a goddamn rental car, and because apparently they didn't the service was like, they bought one in advance, and the service was like, so they just hung out there and then didn't really get to sleep. So there they go. And then we all had a race the next day. So that was fun. I slept on the couch the whole weekend, so basically whenever the first I was always like the second riser. Whoever got up the first day, our coffee pot was like shit, so they needed coffee for everybody because everyone was tired. Everyone was jet lagged and all that, so they came in and the coffee exploded everywhere. They didn't really have coffee, so that was fun. I was sitting there while that all went down on the couch, and they were just in the kitchen in the same room just dealing with that shit. So that was funny. And then we all had our races. The first day I did all right. I was very happy on my first day. Then the second day, I was like, okay, that's a bit less good. There was the 49ers Seahawks game that I watched part of. That was a fun game. I knew we all knew the 49ers were going to win, and you know, my dad's a Seahawks fan. I'm not. I'm a Green Bay fan. And there were other people there that were Niners fans, so that was fun. And then that game, we all saw that game. Then the next day we had people over, and there was the Vikings Giants game, and I was very happy to see the Vikings lose because I'm a Packers fan, so that was fun. And then my race the second day was okay. I didn't do great. I had a couple I didn't have the best race. And then my last day is the day I mentioned earlier where I let my team down and had the meltdown behind the garbage can, yada, yada, yada. And then on the way back. So the last day is when we were like, you know, we didn't have a race. It was the Monday. It was Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. We were like, okay, you know what? Let's visit the town. We were like, you know, we could go to the museum, or we could go to the Coca-Cola museum, or not the museum, the aquarium there. We heard the aquarium was really cool, and that was like the sight to see. However, it was like $50 a person compared to $15 a person. So we were like, yeah, let's go to the Coca-Cola museum because we're cheapskates. And that happened. So I already told you about the Coca-Cola museum, and then we got lunch at this Mexican place and then headed over to the airport, and our flight was at like 7, or it was like at 6. So that flight, oh boy, that flight sucked. I wanted to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was on the, but for some reason the free plane Wi-Fi that normally works fine and was working fine for my sister, like sitting right next to me, for some reason it was crashing constantly for me, and it was annoying. I had to like stop my movie like 8 times when watching it, and there was one time in the climax, for those of you who've seen that movie, there's like a big fight in the climax, and it's pretty crazy. They're all like, Austin Butler's sitting there pointing a gun at Brad Pitt, and then Brad Pitt's like, oh yeah, and then Brad Pitt starts laughing, and then they all start laughing, and then all of a sudden and then it becomes a bloodbath, right? It just stopped when they were laughing, so it just cut right there, and I'm like, why? And like every cut, I swear, every cut, it was just my luck, there were babies on that flight that were screaming. Their parents didn't drug those babies. There were screaming babies on every flight. So I was just like, oh my God. And then I got home. My mom was like, hey, how was the trip? And I'm like, don't talk to me. I want to sleep. I gave my dad's like, can I have your dirty clothes? I had the sack for all my dirty clothes. I threw it on the floor right in front of him. I'm like, take it. Don't give it to me tonight. I want to sleep. Then I went to sleep. And I had school the next day. So that was my trip to Georgia. That happened. And the worst part, that's when my sore throat started. That day is when my sore throat started. And then I was burping like a madman the next day. And then I was just slowly, and then I was slowly getting more sick till Thursday, Friday. Thursday I had to go to school because I had a final. Friday I also had finals, but I had to miss them. So I didn't go to that. And then Thursday, I'm there. I'm like, okay, I'm coughing my guts out. I couldn't finish my run. And then Friday, the stand-up special, I could record Thursday night, and I didn't record earlier because I was banking on my throat getting better, and it only got worse. And then I chopped together that stand-up special when I missed school, and then I sort of just did homework at home because all the work I had that day I could have been done at home, so I did it at home. It was quite easy, and then I had another race in the weekend. I did not do very good because I was still sick. I was like sort of coming off of my sickness, but then the day after I was feeling a lot better. And then the day after, and then now I'm just now like I just have a little bit of coughing left, but I'm fine. Like I've coughed like 8 times today, compared to like 8 times in 5 minutes. So I'll take that as a win. And now my semester's over, and my school district does this thing where we get like the day off at the change of the semester, so teachers can like finish their shit. And be ready for the up and coming semester. So easy for them. I found out I have friends in some of my classes, which makes me happy. I have people I get to talk to in some of my classes. I also got promoted to manager at my student store, so I get to be a manager for a semester, for my last semester of high school, which is pretty cool. I like that. I get to like be in charge of a thing. Yeah, my schedule is going to be a lot easier. So much easier, and all my friends are going to complain. Their schedules are basically not changing because they took a bunch of AP classes. I have a friend who tried to drop one of his classes, but he couldn't. So I'm gonna hear about that for a while and how he couldn't drop it. Then I went and saw Avatar today. Last night, my buddy was like, "Hey, want to go see Avatar tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Fuck it, if I'm gonna see it, might as well see it in the theater." And then it was mid. It wasn't mid. It was all right. It was long. It was long. It was like an out of context Elliot podcast. I'm like, Jesus Christ, can this move along? Can he move along? Can he get through this? Can he? And the messages were like, I understand the messages, but like, can they be a little more subtle? And can they be a little more well done? Like, there were a couple scenes where he's like dissecting a whale thing, and they're like, and all they wanted was like some brain juice. And they're like, what? Why don't you just take the whole? Wait, you're only taking the brain juice? And then it was never touched on again. Like, for a 3-hour movie, it's like, yeah, let's just make it about this family, but let's also make it about the environment. And I'm like, and it was just like, here, give us like 1 or 2 scenes about the environment, and mankind's involvement in the environment, and how greedy we are. So, and then it was like, this family is our fortress. We are wherever this family goes, and this family's very important. And then, and then there's a moment that isn't really lingered on very much. And then they literally just used the same villain, the same lame villain from the original. And it's like, he's got a bone to pick with the dudes now, and he's like on a mission to go hunt him down or whatever. because he's like leading this resistance, but then he leaves his family. His family ditches the tree people because they want to protect them, but like, isn't he in charge of a resistance? He's like stepping down to protect his family. He gave up his position and then all that. Okay, fine. And they also underutilized Sam Worthington. Also, like, there was this person, like, Sigourney Weaver's character's daughter is in it, and Sigourney Weaver's character before isn't really in the movie, which is kind of weird. I don't know why they didn't just work her in, but anyway, like, Sigourney Weaver voices like this character who's supposed to be like a teenager, and it doesn't feel right. It's very obvious and weird. like I'm like, what the heck? Like, it's like, Sigourney Weaver. Let's see how old Sigourney Weaver is. Sigourney Weaver. She is 73 years old. And she's voicing a teenager. And her name's Kiri whatever, and yeah. It's a little strange. Kate Winslet's in it? I didn't even pick that up. And then Stephen Lang. Wow, he's in it. Wow. Michelle Rodriguez is in it. Who does she voice? I forget who she voices. Her character's credited. Huh. There was one Australian actor in it. Brendan Cowell, who was in it. Where's the oceanographer character? There was like a marine biologist character in it. There was also this Joel David Moore, I think is his character. Maybe it might be Jermaine Clement. That's who he was. He was a marine biologist. I knew he wasn't going to die because he was a marine biologist in a movie about how we destroy our oceans, but like there wasn't as much. Like, for a 3-hour movie, the themes were very glossed on, and it was mostly just like there was like a massive subplot about a kid and a whale, and that whole thing, and then they were like, the whale got a backstory, and they whatever, like, there was a long, also I saw it in 3D, and I got a headache for a lot of it. There was like there was a scene where this one shark thing is like trying to eat this kid, but then and it's just, it won't stop chasing him, and then the whale thing saves him, but like the shark is constantly jumping at you. There were also a lot of unnecessary jump scares that I just found annoying. Like, this kid is like saved by the whale as he's like drowning and whatever, and she wakes up on the whale's back, but it doesn't reveal it. It looks like he's like on the rocks, and he's like, what happened? And then the whale breathes, and it's like a jump scare, and you're like, oh my god. And you're like, what the heck? And then there was this girl, she was hiding in this plant thing to like get away from the bad guys, and then you're like, oh, and then she's like, and then there's no music playing, and then they're like, where is she? And it was right after her brother and this other girl were like, where is she? Did the same thing in another plant, and then she swims up by herself. I'm like, uh-oh, the bad guys are gonna get her. And then it's like, jump scare, and I'm like, oh my god. But it was just her brother finding her. I'm like, come on. And they were fine. and they got captured like 30 seconds later. I'm like, why couldn't they have just gotten captured there? Why did we get that unnecessary jump scare? Yeah, it's no Puss in Boots. It's no Puss in Boots. No Puss in Boots at all. Yeah, yeah. It's been an interesting couple weeks. I would like to keep these going. I did change the name from Dr. Pepper Guy to just my voice to Dr. Pepper Guy or DP Guy, Delicious Product Guy. Yeah, my arms have also been looking better. Like, I can't really do it in this shirt, but look at that. My shoulders have been looking better, so there's always that. I also have like this exercise thing that I actually don't have audio listeners anymore because of the way I'm going to upload this. So there we go. This is supposed to air Friday morning, like always. I might air it in the middle of the day Friday because I'm curious. But we'll see what happens, because when I air it in the morning, nobody listens to it in the morning because they're all at school. So I might air this in the afternoon. We'll see. I might air this at like noon my time, which is like 3 p.m. Eastern time. And then we'll see how many views it gets within like the first couple days. Within like the first day, because I do notice that like these things have been decreasing audio. I do want to like talk about this because I did make a big deal out of me quitting. And like, here I am posting this stuff to YouTube. Like, I think people realize like I don't care anymore, so why should they? Like, it's like, I've moved on and everyone else has. I gave everyone else the chance to move on, and I gave them time to move on, and they did. And he's like, oh, he's back. Like, you were gone. Why are you back? What are you doing here? Why are you what are you doing? You said you were going to leave, and now you're here, and I can understand that. So it's I don't really see myself ever being able to I'd have to like I don't think because I realize I'm not my audience isn't going to be very loyal to me because I wasn't loyal to them. So I tugged on their heartstrings. I even posted a video called My Channel's Finale, and now it's all about this now. And then on Christmas I come back, I'm like, actually I'm gonna post these on YouTube. So I'm like, and I'm gonna be posting podcast clips on YouTube. So that's gonna be happening all the while. In an attempt to grow, because I haven't really grown at all since September. So I have gained 78 subscribers since July 3rd. It has been 6 months, and I have gained less than 100 subscribers. That is not good numbers for me. Back when I was grinding, I wanted to get at least 100 in a month. And then after I ditched the sleep streams, because honestly, YouTube wanted me to keep doing those. That was a tough choice for me. Like, I sacrificed any chance of the algorithm liking me, and then I was like, hey, here I am. I'm back. I'm gonna work my way up, and then I'm like, actually, I'm not. So there we go. So yeah, and I doubt many people made it to the end, because nobody does on these things. If you're listening on Spotify, you probably do. If you're listening on YouTube, you probably not. You can't really. YouTube podcasts are not the most well done. I also bought a new camera. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I'm on a new camera. It's wider and it fills the screen, and my movements are a lot more fluid. When you can see my movements. It's still pixely. However, you can still see the movements, and you can still make out details of my face a lot clearer. Like, I have a lot more acne than my other camera compares, and you can see individual parts of my room and where things are hidden, and you could probably read stuff better from further back. So you always have that, right? And it's hard to stare at a camera that isn't perfect in quality and all that. So I get it. I get it. I have like a tiny webcam that's like $30 compared to like a $200 camera, right? So I'm on a budget. So I realize I'm not going to accomplish my dream here. However, I'm still gonna stay here because earlier a few minutes ago I said that I didn't really feel like I was loyal. I was disloyal first. So I I guess I gotta work my trust back a little bit, but you know, if 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 people are like, yeah, no, you haven't been redeemed in my eyes, then I get it. If I'm if I screwed up, if I if you don't like the way I did things, I understand. I completely understand. I accept everything. I accept full blame and I'm sorry. Um I think that's where I'm going to wrap up this episode this week. 46-minute episode. I'm not going to try to drag this out to about an hour. I've said all I've wanted to say. Um, this has been the Dr. Pepper Guy podcast. That's pretty much it. Peace out, fam. Okay, I forgot my hotkey didn't work, so I just made this awkward. I'm just gonna go now.